work with some girl, and while he was here, he was talking about how, do you know who Ben Schwartz is? He's a guy who got the Ninja Turtles. He voices Ninja Turtle. He voices a character in the new DuckTales series, and he's done a bunch of stuff. Anyway, so he got this like comedy special, and I had asked him if I could open for him, and he was like, "Yeah, you're not funny enough to open for me." Like if we were going to a real comedy club, but you're just funny enough to be my opener because you'll make me look really funny. So he had let me open for him. It was weird, dude. And then we like laid down some tile, and then some zombies started to come to the house. They weren't bad. They weren't mean.
Okay,
but
Tyler,
we knew there was zombies. Yeah.
Tyler, we're actually live here on the air. I'm OmniDog, and this is T-Bone on the OmniDog and T-Bone review show.
Every single time. I don't know why. Why do I keep falling for this? You keep saying, "Hey, what's important and been going on in your life?" So then I start to tell you about my dreams and my hopes and aspirations.
You have these weird dreams that Ben Schwartz laying tile with him. What?
I feel like that's a euphemism, but it's really not. We were literally laying tile, like physical tile, okay?
Euphemism.
Golly, I'm T-Bone, and we're here doing our thing.
And where's the jingle?
OmniDog and T-Bone, Star 93.5.
That's right. This is the OmniDog and T-Bone review show. Today, a new feature, Action Figure Friday.
What?
Where we're going to be talking about action figures.
We got toys. We got boys. We got lots of joys. We're here for you.
What he said. Because we've been reading and reviewing books, and we thought we'd chop it up a little and make it a little different kind of salad. And we're going to serve you up a whole heap and helping of action figures today because a few weeks ago, Tyler was waffling a bit on the fence, a bit on the train tracks.
You're a terrible person, Jess. You're a terrible person. We need to just get this out of the way
about whether or not he should get back into action figures because he had stopped collecting action figures.
I was clean for 2 years, Jess.
Clean.
2 years. I hadn't bought a figure. You sucked me back in, and I'm all the way back in now.
I fully copped to this because I needed a buddy in action figure collecting, and I fully pulled Tyler back into action figure collecting, and woo! He is way into it now. Woo! He wants to collect nothing but action figures, and it's not just Spider-Man. It is like X-Men and Deadpool and all kinds of things. It is really great.
Wow, boy, you really sucked me back in. Up until I had collected every single Marvel Legends figure until about 2017 and a bunch of other lines. And then I moved and quit cold turkey. My figure's been boxed up for nearly 2 years. You got me sucked back in, bro.
You are welcome.
Thank you, Jess. I forgot the joy of the hunt, the thrill of ripping that plastic open, and the wonderful, glorious smell of that fresh plastic. It's incredible.
That is one thing you get that I don't, and that is the joy of the hunt, because my area is terrible. My Walgreens and Walmart and Targets are all terrible for the hunt. I get no kind of selection whatsoever from my stores, and so all my hunting has to be done online.
That's rough.
It doesn't bother me at all to go hunting physically. I love the excitement of finding something in a store, just like with comic books.
It just never happens for you.
It just doesn't happen, and so now I've got to just try to time it so that I get something for a good price online, or somebody's nice enough to send me something, a viewer or a friend is nice enough to send me something that they find for me, because it is it's terrible around me, which
That's
is
rough.
Because
you live in a metropolitan area, but I guess there's a lot of collectors in your area, I suppose. Like in Mississippi, how many collectors are there? Probably not a ton. So I still find good things. And, I went to my local Walmart after you got me back in. I thought I'll just go check and see what my local Walmart has. When I got there, they had a 50% off sale on all Marvel Legends. And it was just that Walmart. I don't know what the deal was because I've been to 5 other Walmarts since then. I'm not going to say I bought all of them, but I bought a significant portion of them. There was now, even to this day, the only figure left in that Walmart. There's 14 Captain Marvel Legends, the movie figure of Captain Marvel.
Oh, yeah.
14 of her at $5. They can't give those things away.
Oh, boy.
Nobody wants it, including me. I didn't buy it.
No.
So today, that brings us to the first segment on Action Figure Friday, where we're going to break down.
Friday. What's that?
We're going to break down, like you just did. We're going to break down again, break it down with sweet bars, sweet tunes, and today, the top 5 must-have figures in your Spider-related collection. So if you're new to collecting action figures, or this is your seasoned veteran and you just want to know what we think the top 5 must-have figures are, stay tuned because we're going to give you the figures that we think every Spider-Man fan has got to have in their collection.
And you will totally disagree with us because these are just our favorites.
Yeah, no, this is our 100% opinion,
right?
But it's scientific and it's accurate and it's 100% right.
It's 100% arbitrary. It's our taste, and you will disagree with it 100%. But these are our favorites, Spider-Man figures. We both love Spider-Man figures. I have a door full of Spider-Man figures. There's a whole thing set up where
incredible
Carnage has captured Mary Jane, and Scream and Lasher are protecting Carnage while all the other spiders in the Spider Universe are climbing up the door. Let's see if I can get a decent picture of it. Climbing up a door, trying to save her. Let's see if I can get a picture of it.
It's almost there. That looks so good.
Yeah. So
good.
And so that's why I love spider figures, because they're so flexible and so fun to deal with, and you can do anything with them.
That's great.
They lend themselves to so many cool poses, and I love this scenario. I was just bored one night and
that's so awesome.
Decided to make up a story, and I'm just enough of a nerd that I almost ended the broadcast. I'm just enough of a nerd. Yeah, I know, my finger hit a button accidentally. I'm just enough of a nerd that I don't care about having a door full of spiders. I think is the most fun.
Oh, it's great. And that's the thing that we share. We've always shared in common was our love for displaying our figures. Some people like to keep them in box, but we're all about playing with your figures.
Yeah. That's fine if you want to keep them in the box. We just like to get ours out and display them.
And the articulation on these figures has just gotten so much better over the last decade. The posability is absurd. It's so good. So did you have some figures that you wanted to show as a haul that you had gotten before we jump into our list?
Well, I did get one crappy figure. Just because I wanted her. I don't see that she she does articulate a little bit. She looks much worse in person than she did on eBay. I don't know what compelled me to get her other than to say I needed a Batwoman, but actually it's a DC Direct figure, and those things have been better than other figures. Mattel figures, but this thing will do. I'll open it up and throw away the box. It was like $15 or something on eBay, but I just love Batwoman, and so this is what I got.
Ooh, it's a good sculpt. I like it. Good colors, good paint job.
I thought the paint job was good. There were other Batwoman that did not look like they had a very good paint job. But this was DC Direct, which made me think it was going to be a decent paint job.
Yeah, they do really well on sculpting and paints, DC Direct. Haven't traditionally always done so well in articulation, but they've stepped it up in recent years for sure.
Yeah.
I've got the Mattel version of that figure, which has much better articulation, but does not look that good.
Right. So I got that, and then I got what is going to be featured. I don't know if I should show it because it's going to be featured.
Oh yeah, save it for the list.
Save it.
That's
Okay.
a great figure.
Okay, I'll save it then.
I got 2 figures in last night. Got home from work at about 10 o'clock. And these guys were waiting for me. I was super stoked. One is on shelves now in Walmart. It's an 80th anniversary Marvel line that they've got going on. And right now they've got, you can find probably in your local Target or Walmart, they have Thor, which I've already picked up, Iron Man, and Captain America. And the Captain America is the hardest to find. So if you see it, snag it. If you are interested, because it's one of the best classic Captain America comic book looking figures. Now I can't show you right now because he's in box, but the chest on there, his armor has the it's got like the chain armor that he's traditionally wears in the comics, like the chinks of armor that look really cool. So that's a great figure. You can't go wrong. Maybe we'll showcase that at some point. And then this bad boy.
Oh,
I'm not ashamed to say I had. Wow, I'm trying to get this reflection off.
yeah.
I'm not ashamed to say that I had the first release. There we go. That's the best I can do. That I had the first release of this figure, this Archangel figure, that came back 4 years ago or something. But I had to pick up the second release because of the additional heads that this comes with, the Warren Worthington Angel style heads, and then the wings are actually metallic, which are much truer to that 90s cartoon, 90s era that I just absolutely loved in my figures. So nice little mini haul to come home to yesterday. Thanks,
that is
Amazon.
really cool.
Thanks, Amazon and Walmart. I actually picked up that cap from Walmart.com because I couldn't find them in any Walmart stores.
There's a whole new 80s, 80 years wave going out right now, right?
Yeah, and it really is good. You know, one interesting thing that they've done, some of those figures have unique sculpts, like the Thor, I believe, has a unique sculpt, but a lot of the figures are just retooled or repainted versions of other figures that are hard to find. And they've been doing that not only with the 80s line, but there's a retro wave that they've done multiple waves of. I think they've done 2 retro Marvel waves and 1 retro X-Men wave. And I'll kind of get into that in a little bit because one of my figures is still in box. It's in my top 5.
Aha. Good. I just noticed one of my figures has some crazy articulation going on in it. That I don't know what year it was, but it's got movable toe joints and finger joints.
That's awesome. That used to be a staple with Toy Biz, and Hasbro did it for a little while.
Must be a Toy Biz toy.
Tosses it in, but the Toy Biz figures have just, I mean, individual finger articulation on a lot of the figures. It's insane.
Yeah. Looks like it is individual.
Pretty impressive.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite toys. One of my favorite Spideys.
Well, let's just jump into the top 5 must-have spider-related figures of your collection. Let's do it.
Okay.
Do you want to start us off?
Sure.
Who's your number 5 pick? Or do you have any honorable mentions?
Honorable mentions? Yeah, let's see.
I got a few that didn't quite make the list, but are still solid figures.
Okay, I'm trying to decide who my honorable mention is going to be.
While you're thinking about that, I'll hit up my honorable mentions.
Okay, wait, let me highlight you. Okay.
These 2 figures are nearly perfect, and they hit my honorable mentions list for multiple reasons. But the main reason is that while they came out a while ago, it might be pricey on eBay. Right now, there's a 2-pack at Target with both of these figures in there. So if you're interested in getting these figures, now's the time to do it because you can snag that 2-pack. I don't recall the price, but I believe it's like it might be 40 or somewhere between 40 and 60 bucks. And it actually comes with a lot more than these figures originally came with. So the first is a black suit Spider-Man. Now, it's no surprise that I love the black suit. Everybody loves the black suit. It's a really cool costume, a great era for Spider-Man in the comics. And as we all know, the black suit became Venom, and that was really cool. And after that, he wore a black suit himself. Now, the figure itself has your standard, really solid Spider-Man modern articulation, ankle pivots, which is really important for Spider-Man figures because you can get them in like these poses where you bend their legs and, you get them in like a cool little web thwip pose here. And then you got double jointed knees, which lets you go all the way back. And we won't do this on every figure, but
you're right, we're not.
Articulation all the way back, hand swaps, head swaps, great figure all around. So that's kind of your basic Spider-Man articulation on all these figures. Just to give you guys a heads up, if you don't have any Spider-Man figures, but this big figure and this figure hit my honorable mentions list. Kraven is a great figure, cool spear. Look at the detail on that. Do you have this figure, Jess? It's a great figure.
I do have Kraven. He's over behind Juggernaut. And okay. Juggernaut kind of blocks out the sun over there, so I see him. He's over there in the shelf.
I totally dig these knee pads. Just a really cool figure. And you can get both of these figures. They have multiple head swaps and a few more accessories at Target right now. So those are my honorable mention figures. And I think you'd do well to pick them up if you like those characters.
Okay, I have 2 honorable mention figures then too. One is the same as what Tyler had, only it's a little updated. Mine is the most current black suit one.
Oh, that's great.
Where he's got claws for hands, the black suit Spidey, and he's got like animalistic feet.
That's really cool.
And his eyes go off his head. They're like wacky. I love this guy for some reason. I had to have him. I just love this figure because the eyes go peel off. They peel off his head, and he's got the claws. And this mirroring is so hard to get used to.
I know, isn't it?
But I love this symbiote Spider-Man, and this is the modern version, the one that just came out this summer.
Very cool.
So I really like this one a lot.
Still $20 on Amazon.
Okay, good. And of course, my gal, Spider-Gwen.
Oh, look at that figure. Such a good looking figure. I mean, look at the detail inside the hood. That's amazing.
That really is. Wait till you see the detail of my number 1 figure.
Ooh, I'm excited.
You would fall in love. So this is Spider-Gwen or Ghost Spider or whatever they're calling her now. But those are my 2 honorable mentions.
Great figures. Absolutely great figures. So let's just jump in.
Okay.
At number 5.
Okay.
I've got a little bit of a cheap pick. It's a 2-in-1 figure.
Oh, what?
I know. I like to do that. I like to really bend the rules.
I'm going to cut you off.
So this is the Chameleon. Very cool figure. Very cool character. Would not make the top 5 if it was just the Chameleon. But when you get this figure, this Chameleon figure, he comes with a head swap for the man himself, J. Jonah Jameson. You got to have a J. Jonah Jameson in your collection if you got Spider-Man figures. I mean, he's a great character. You can head swap him if you're going for a cool Sinister Six or Villains display. And the added versatility of popping his head off. A lot of figures these days, like there's some Spider-Man figures that come with Peter Parker heads. There's some Iron Man figures that come with Tony Stark heads. You pop those heads on here, and you got a cool suited version, like a casual, out of costume version of a lot of characters. So just for the fact that it's a base suit, cool looking, got your tie, and a good depiction of JJ and Chameleon, hits my number 5 spot hard.
Okay, well, I'm sure no one out there actually cares about that.
How dare you? Everyone loves suit figures.
My number 5 is going to be, see, now they're all together here. I've got them all in poses because they're so cool and posable. Will be Future Foundation white suited Spider-Man. I've got him posed on this very cool stand. And so I dig Future Foundation Spider-Man. And this is ridiculously pricey now on eBay. So I wouldn't, if I were you, I wouldn't go out and get this. Especially because it comes in like a bubble pack. You can't even remove it from the pack without it destroying the package. At least with these Legend figures,
yeah,
you can remove it from the package and put it back in.
That was the old school way of packing them back when they did that. And what was that, 2013, something like that?
Something like that, yeah. So, and of course, I just wanted to display it. I wasn't thinking of future resale value or
right.
keeping the package or anything. But yeah, so I'm excited about. I love Future Foundation Spidey. He's cool.
That's
I love
awesome.
the white suit. It was to me a really strong departure from the regular suited Spideys.
Very cool. Well, my number 4 is, it was a very hard decision for me. I guess this should have gone in my honorable mentions because it's not in my top 5, but Mary Jane, I just wanted to show off.
Yeah,
she came in a 2-pack. Great figure. People wanted a Mary Jane for like a decade. Finally got in a 2-pack with the all new, all different Spider-Man with his suit. Just a solid figure. Like, it's well made, looks good. If you're going for a cool display, like Jess mentioned, he's got his wall of figures, and Mary Jane got captured. Like, you got to have a Mary Jane. But my number 4 figure has got to be this Venom. Big fan of the character Venom, and this is like the very 90s style of Venom, the Todd McFarlane style. And he's just an iconic character. Again, like Jess mentioned, like a lot of these are our opinions based on what characters we like. So like there are multiple versions of multiple characters. There's multiple Green Goblins, multiple Hobgoblins, characters like that. And there's a ton of Venoms. This, I think, represents the most iconic look for Venom. And that's why it makes my my top 5 list at number 4.
Okay. So we're on number 4. That would be, for me, something that I just got, and I think he's really cool looking. Ooh. I haven't finished changing him up or his hands or anything yet because I just got him. I just took him out of the box today. And that would be...
Are you sure he's going to be cool?
He looks cool. The new Big Time Spider-Man.
Oh, he's so cool. He's so cool.
Yeah, I have another Big Time Spider-Man on that carousel of posable Spider-Man.
Yeah, show them side by side so people can see just how terrible that old version is compared to the new one. Like, look at that just horrible paint app. They were trying to go for a glow effect, but it just looks like they messed up painting it.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
This one is much better.
Oh, it looks so cool. And that classic double-jointed elbow, double-jointed knee, Spidey articulation, butterfly shoulders.
Butterfly shoulders.
That was the sequel song to Butterfly Kisses, I believe.
So I haven't even figured out what I want my hands to be, but I'm.
So did it come with hand swaps as well?
It did, yeah. It has four. It has two pairs of hand swaps.
That's great.
So I haven't figured out what I want. I usually go for the crawling.
Oh, that's good hand.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I usually go for that.
Crawling in my skin.
So this is my number 4. I've been waiting a while for this, but it is boss looking.
Yeah,
So.
you showed me that the other day. You sent me a text and showed it to me, and it immediately triggered me into buying it. And I went on to Big Bad Toy Store and bought it immediately. And it's sitting in my pile of loot.
That's like what triggered me in the hospital getting the PS4 Spider-Man.
It had to be done. It just had to be done. There was no
yeah.
Which maybe that would have made our top list. Who knows?
Yeah, when it comes in, we may have to do an extra show.
Yeah, part 2 maybe at some point, because I don't have the Kingpin Build-A-Figure wave, which I know the Kingpin looks amazing.
Yeah.
As well as the newest Build-A-Figure, the Spider wave yet. All in due time.
Yeah.
My number 3 figure came out a few years ago, but they have re-released him in a Venom wave that is still extremely reasonably priced and comes with a lot of accessories. But I just thought the look is so sick, dude. Look at this carnage.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man. I mean, the symbiote tendrils that are coming off of him are just the coolest looking. Like, look at that. There's one on the back. And there's a version with, like, you can get like an axe for a hand, I believe.
Yeah, that's the one I have up on the wall with the axe with the hand.
So great. I mean, the paint out. Look at that face. So just menacing. And
yeah, that's an evil one.
I mean, the paint is great. Everything about this figure is really cool. Again, I'm a big fan of the symbiotes. Started reading comics. My first comic event that I ever read was Maximum Carnage. As a fresh-faced 4th grader. So
that's great. 4th grade reading Maximum Carnage.
Always had big love for both Venom and Carnage, and that hits my number 3 spot. Real nice.
My number 3 spot, yoink, is going to be.
That's the best sound effect I've ever heard.
The Iron Spider.
Look at the articulation on that figure.
Yeah, see, this is the one with the toe joints and the individual fingers. And yeah.
Now, I don't recall if that's Hasbro or Toy Biz. It's been a long time since I've seen that figure, and mine is buried away somewhere. But it's certainly, I'm guessing about 2009 era. So it's probably pricey.
It is now, yeah.
But it looks extremely cool.
Yeah. I love the toe joints and the individual fingers. I need to do something more interesting with the fingers. But yeah, number 3 is Iron Spider.
Great figure. You know, I'm surprised we don't have a more updated version of that with the new Spider-Man sculpts, with how many Spidey figures they've released. I know we got a movie version of Iron Spidey, I believe. But in terms of like a comic version, I'm very surprised we have yet to get a new one. So we'll see. We'll see what the future holds. All right, my number 2 slot.
Oops, wait a sec. Let me get me off me. There you go.
My number 2 slot.
Number 2 slot.
May very well be the number 1 Spider-Man. You guessed it. The Scarlet Spider, Ben Reilly. Love this figure. Love it to death. Just a great sculpt. We got the hoodie. We got great looking eyes, big comic accurate eyes. We got the pouch. We got the ankle pouches. Like, this just screams 90s. It's so good, so well made, and it goes so well in any Spider-Verse collection that as a huge Ben Reilly fan, I had to pick it up. They have the original release of this figure was very pricey, but there's a retro wave out. I believe it's Retro Wave 2, where you can pick this figure up still for $20. So if you're a fan of Ben Reilly, if you're a fan of the Scarlet Spider, it's still very reasonable to pick up.
Wait, that thing's expensive now?
Well, I think the original release is.
The one you have in your hand, though.
Yeah, I believe this is the original release. I'm not sure how different the Retro Wave version is. Might be a slightly different recoloring, which is what they tend to do on those Retro Waves. But I don't have that version of the figure yet.
I have that version that you have in your hand. It's on the wall of spiders.
I'd have to check the price, but and I could be wrong on that, but I'm guessing it's a little bit more pricey just because the Waves came out 4 years ago or so, 3 or 4 years ago. So it's just been out of print for a while. I'll tell you how much I love this character, and I wished that I had pulled it out right now. I went through a period. This is how you know you're like a real nerd action figure collector. Like you're a little too obsessed, like you have a problem. Because I went through a period where I was buying custom action figures.
Oh, wow.
Where I would have somebody, and maybe I'll do like a video. Maybe we'll do an Action Figure Friday where I'll showcase my top 5 custom figures that I had made.
You
where
have
I had people
5?
Yeah. It's true. Where I had people make figures for me. The reason I actually stopped doing that, and they look good, not as good as the Hasbro version, but they look really good. The reason I stopped is because of this figure right here. Because I got the Scarlet Spider custom figure, and no lie, I'd had the figure maybe a week when they announced this figure was coming out. And that was when I realized, you know what? They're probably just going to make all these custom figures that I got as actual figures at some point.
Yeah.
And sure enough, I think nearly all of them have become real figures. Like I had a Gambit. I won't get into it, but I had a lot of figures that got made into real figures at some point. So ended up kind of being a waste, but I enjoyed them at the time I had them, and they look really cool. So there you go, Scarlet Spider. Got to have it.
Scarlet Spider. That was your number 2?
That was my number 2. Boy, we're getting down there.
Okay, here's my number 2. Doop-de-doo. Doing. Pizza Spidey. The original Pizza Spidey.
That is a really awesome figure.
Yeah.
And I'll just jump in the discussion while you're showcasing him, because that is my number 1.
It is
figure.
Well, let's see it then.
I love this figure so much. This is the definitive version of Spider-Man. So you showed him holding the pizza. I can't remember. Did he have his mask halfway up?
He did.
Okay, so it came with head swaps. This figure is so good and so important for so many reasons. They released a figure way back in 2008 or so, and everyone called it the McFarlane Spider-Man. I've still got it. Highly articulated, extremely comic book accurate Spider-Man figure. The best Spider-Man figure, bar none, no question, hands down, for nearly a decade. And because it was the best figure, and because the time that it came out, it was so expensive. I think I bought mine for $120 maybe.
What now? Really?
And this figure was easily going for $200 at the time. Actually, I take it back. I think I got a deal and got it for $60. Totally take it back. But the price, I saw some crazy prices on this figure.
Wow.
And it was an amazing figure. But if you are a serious Spider-Man collector, you wanted to have the most posable and the most comic accurate Spider-Man figure. And that was it. And that was all they made for a really long time. And when the Pizza Spidey figure came out, it was such a gift to the figure collecting community because it was the definitive Spider-Man. And to this day is the definitive comic accurate Spider-Man. People still love the McFarlane Spider-Man. I still love the McFarlane Spider-Man. But it doesn't, it's an older figure, a Toy Biz figure. The textures are different. Doesn't quite fit in as well with some of the Hasbro figures that they've done. These are more glossy. But the thing that's great about this figure is, so the original Pizza Spidey, and Jess, you can correct me if I'm wrong on this, but it's expensive, right?
Yeah. Actually, it got expensive fairly rapidly after it got released.
It's the definitive Spider-Man. They call it the Pizza Spidey, if you didn't get this already from the figure Jess showed, because it came with a slice of pizza. That was one of the accessories, was a slice of pizza. But they've re-released. So this is great news for you guys if you're just getting into Spider-Man figures, which is why this is at my number one spot. It is available now in a slightly different look. So they released a second version of this that looked much closer to the McFarlane Spider-Man figures. If you could pop me back over here. So here's a comparison. I know it's kind of hard to tell in this light, but this is a much lighter blue, like a normal comic blue. This is a much darker, deeper blue and deeper red. They really went for the exact McFarlane look on this figure. This one right here that I'm holding. This came in a box set, and I'm sure it's expensive. It was a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive Raft set with a bunch of Raft villains and this Spider-Man. It was a recolor, and it was the McFarlane Pizza Spider-Man. But for you guys at home who are just starting to collect, this is why it's a great time to get it, because they re-released him in the retro wave. You can see this is exactly what it looks like in that retro wave. And boy, the reflections are brutal. It's in that retro wave, and it comes with the pizza, the head, and the regular head. And it's actually a lighter color blue than the original release. Again, it's hard to tell in this light, but it is a much lighter color blue, but it still looks great. And it's got all that perfect articulation. And it will be, for the foreseeable future at least, your definitive version of Spider-Man. So it's not available everywhere, but I know right now, if you go to bigbadtoystore.com, you can get that figure for $24.99. And you may be able to find it on Amazon for cheaper. But if you're a Spider-Man collector or you want to get into Spider-Man figures and you don't have that figure, he's a must-have. Absolutely. Goes in your Spider-Man collection, your Avengers collection, your Marvel Knights collection. I mean, it's a fantastic figure. You won't regret purchasing it at that price, for sure.
Very nice. Which leads us to my number one.
Ring.
The most beautiful Silk.
Ooh la la.
Look at that face sculpt. Give me a break. Look at that. You telling me they did that on a tiny scale like that?
That's impressive.
How beautiful she is. I mean, this is an action figure, and they got the time and effort into it to make her this beautiful, and to get the eyes and lips and nose and everything perfect. This is unbelievable to me. And I just love Silk so much. I loved her as a character. I loved her comic, but I mean, I love this action figure. The detail in it tells me that Hasbro, just look at all of their sculpts. They are so beautiful on and so accurate on all the men and the women, and they are so interesting and so well done.
Yeah. And
I am just thrilled with, and that's why my whole collection is pretty much Marvel stuff, because it's so much better than DC stuff.
Yeah, Hasbro's been crushing it. And, you know, Hasbro's interesting. They bought the toy license from Toy Biz. They got it from Toy Biz back in 2009. And they actually entirely stopped producing all Marvel figures. They produced like 2 packs at Toys R Us. And they stopped producing figures in 2010 or something, 2011. 2012, so around there. And when I got into figures, was they had just started back producing Marvel Legends in late 2012. And even the difference in the sculpts and the builds and the faces, like you just pointed out, from 2012, 2013 to now, so 5 to 6 years, is remarkable. They have gotten so good at it, and they are so good about listening to fans. We may do an X-Men episode at some point, and you can just see some of the deep cut figures that they are producing for fans. I mean, figures that if you had told me 10 years ago they would make, there's no chance I would have believed you. So, I mean, yeah, I can't sing Hasbro's praises enough. You know, they caught a lot of flack when they went from the $15 price point to the $20 price point a few years back. But when they did that, they included a bunch of accessories and hand swaps and head swaps and figures. And I don't know, I'm like you, Jess. I'm mostly a Marvel Hasbro collector. I get a few of the Mattel DC figures because I like the characters, but
Yeah.
Hasbro's crushing it, dude.
Yeah. It's a stark difference between the two. I'm mostly a DC collector, and I'm covered with Marvel Legends all over the place because the quality is so much better.
So good.
Yeah.
So with that being said, this is our first episode of Action Figure Friday.
Yeah, so let us know how you feel down in the comments, what your thoughts are on Action Figure Friday, what your favorite Spider-Man action figures are, Spider-Man villains, Spider-Women, Spider-Men, Spider-Man 2099, Spider-Ham, whatever. Let us know what you think, and hit the like button, and then hit the notification bell so you find out when we are broadcasting. And any other words for him there, Chatty Joe?
I think that's it, brother.
All righty then. Thank you for tuning in. We love our viewers, and we appreciate all of you. And as always, peace and love. Peace and love.